Grishkov and the rest of his team behind him and took what measures he could to weaken his Politburo rivals. For example, there was the case of Viktor Grishin, old-style boss of the Moscow City Party. Grishin had been put in charge of Moscow by Brezhnev 17 years earlier. But behind the highly promoted image of an efficiently run city lay shadowy details, which in those days could spread only by rumor. At a famous food shop on Moscow's Gorky Street, allegations had gradually been emerging of theft, embezzlement, and black market sales to party officials. The rumors went right to the heart of Politburo and Moscow city politics. The old guard's instinct was to play the affair down. The newspaper Izvestia tried to pursue the scandal, but the censors cut the story. Izvestia's editor consulted the new second secretary, Mikhail Gorbachev.
Once, after a meeting in Gorbachev's office, I stayed behind and spoke to him quite frankly. I said, we've got to publish this to show that justice is being done. He looked at me and said, is the article accurate? I said, yes, everything is. I can vouch for the authors. He said, go ahead, publish it then, but it's your own responsibility.
Gorbachev had secured a politician's dream, trouble for his opponent, Grishin, and his own name kept out of it. The article was duly published. The next morning, the telephones at Izvestia started ringing.
It was non-stop, a real onslaught, and from such a high level. Central Committee secretaries called. Grishin phoned me. And the only thing they all demanded to know was, who authorized this article? Why did you publish it? And how dare you sling mud at Moscow?
But Laptev stuck to his bargain with Gorbachev.
I said, I didn't ask anybody's permission. I endorsed it myself. I'm the editor, and it was my decision to publish the piece.
Начавшийся тут же после совещания дружеский визит Михаила Сергеевича Горбачева в Болгарию.
Gorbachev wasn't acting only behind the scenes. Now that he was second secretary, Soviet television viewers saw him regularly, particularly when he traveled abroad. In news bulletins, they could see him charm even the most redoubtable foreign leaders. At the same time, Grishin was sticking close to the leader, a potential old guard candidate for the succession, traveling the old guard route to the top. And now the final showdown would not be long delayed. Chernenko was suffering from a lung condition. For the third time in 2 years, the Soviet leader's health was deteriorating beyond the point of concealment.
We gathered in the Kremlin, Politburo members, Central Committee secretaries, and Chernenko was rolled into the Politburo room in a wheelchair. We talked, and he said, I have to go to the hospital. Your job is to keep up the work of the Politburo and the Secretariat of the Central Committee. And he ended by wishing all of us success in our work. As for me, he said, I'm going to fight for my life.
The old guard once again saw an uninviting future. And once again, an attempt to influence the succession took place behind the gates. From inside the hospital, the dying leader attempted to boost the chances of Viktor Grishin. The two men were seen in a bizarre ceremony staged for Soviet television. A hospital room was rigged up as a polling station where Chernenko could cast his vote in a Russian federal election then being held. A week later, a second similar appearance gave a strong sense that this was part of a campaign for Grishin. Central Committee members inclined to support Gorbachev wondered who was behind it.
I was speaking to Gorbachev rather casually, and I asked him, "Did you see that awful scene on the television?" "What scene?" he said. "No, I know nothing about it." I was amazed because I assumed there must have been a special decision by the top leadership. But it seems to have been Grishin's own initiative.
Me? Leading a conspiracy to become General Secretary? It's not true. It's all lies, fabrication, nonsense.